Hey everyone, it's Les from Comfortable Shoes Studio. Here's another art making episode. Chat while I draw. And all right, so I'm drawing again from Earth's World on Instagram, and I am using a Sailor Fude nibbed pen with Rohrer and Klinger black sketching ink. And Latte is the name. The pen has been modified so that the back end of the body is sealed so I can fill the whole body of the pen with ink. It holds a mammoth 5 milliliters of ink, which is bananas when you think about like how much ink that is. That's like more than 5 cartridges worth of ink in that pen. And since I plan on keeping this pen just constantly filled with that ink, it's fantastic. I use it all the time and I'm not worried about running out of ink. So, yeah, I'm also going to use a 15 millimeter wide black acrylic ink marker. And that I really like because I can get really thick 15 millimeter wide lines as well as slightly narrower lines by turning it on its sides. I think the side is like 5 millimeters, and then there's another edge that's about 3 millimeters wide. So still thick, but less thick than 15 millimeters wide. I will also, if necessary, use a white correction pen or a Uniball Signo white pen to add in whites if I need to. And yeah, so the thing that I want to talk about today is confidence in line. I have not always been confident in line. This is something that's come up a couple of times on this channel, is like, how do you get more confident in your line? And to be very flippant about this is you got to draw more, use your tools more. There are times when I don't feel very confident in my line. It really depends on the materials that I'm using and how long it's been since I've used them, how many times I've used them. In the case of this Fude pen, I haven't, I've used it a lot more now. I've drawn many portraits with it at this point, probably a dozen. And I'm really learning to like it more. But I'm not still not totally confident that I can capture the line that I'm looking for as I'm using the pen, because I've only been using it for a little while. It's been like a month since I got it. I did like it enough that I did order another brand's Fude nib, so I will have several versions of this. And confidence of line is something that happens over time. And it's also something you can develop and you can work on. I have a video planned. It'll probably be a couple of weeks before I get it up. But a video planned about some techniques that I was taught when I was in high school and also used in my undergrad years to become more confident in color mixing and my line work. And that's just something that you learn over time and you learn by doing. So, in this case, I've learned to be more confident with this pen through use of it. That is the extent of it. I've learned, like, okay, on the end, I get this super fine little line. If I flatten the nib, I get this wide, brushy line. And it's also about learning how to see and how to translate what you see to the page. And so, learning what cross-hatching looks like with this pen is part of that. It's also part of the technique that I learned in high school. How do you learn what a pen does? Well, you practice cross-hatching with it so that you can see, okay, if I'm at this angle or using this pressure and I do this sort of cross-hatching, what is that going to look like? If I do a scribble hatch, what is that going to look like? If I turn this pen on the side and use that painter, like where it's almost like a brush, what is that going to look like if I combine it with cross-hatching? And really, there are artist drills, I guess, if you want to call it, um, that you can do to kind of learn about those sorts of things. And that's the video that I have planned, is like to show you how to do that. Daisy Yellow has a couple of good episodes about that sort of thing, figuring out what your pen does. And I know some people find those sorts of drills and exercises rather boring. I don't. I find them rather meditative and relaxing to do. And for me, there's something about the repetitive nature of cross hatching that I just find really relaxing. Seeing the light and shade and form of a face come together, or whatever else I'm drawing, through the layers of cross hatching is really kind of cool, because you can see the shape through the shadows that you create in cross hatching. And honestly, I think that's where the confidence comes from, is like I've done this a million times, or where it looks like I'm confident in my line. I have done, at this point, hundreds, if not thousands of hours of cross hatching over the course of almost 50 years. And, that's where the confidence comes from, is that I have done this a lot. And I really truly believe anyone can get confident in their line, and what that can look like through repetition. And so I would just encourage anyone, if you feel like you're not confident with your pen, pick a pen and practice with it. Draw 100 things. Draw every day for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever works for you. You got 10 minutes in a day, draw for 10 minutes using the same pen. Practice those sorts of sketching and cross-hatching exercises. And you will get more confident with that tool. This is why I think sometimes, artists use the same tool over and over and over again. There's a reason I go for a Uniball Signo 207 or 307 again and again and again. I know exactly how that pen is going to respond to my paper after just a few pen strokes on the page. And that's because I've used those for God knows how many years at this point, since I started making them. I probably picked them up as soon as they were available in the United States. I'm really familiar with those pens and how they're going to respond. And I think like familiarity with your tool is going to make you feel more comfortable and confident in your line. And just practicing that. I think sometimes we want like a magic material that's going to make us feel more confident. But I've been talking about you getting to know your materials for the last 20 years. One of my first classes on YouTube and AJ Ning was all about getting to know your materials, putting in time with your pencils and your pens so that you know how they work and how they're going to respond to your paper. And there's nothing in this world that's going to take the place of spending time with your materials. That's all you can really do is spend more time with it. And eventually that is going to reap the benefits. You're going to feel more confident as you put that pen to paper. And if you don't feel confident with a gel pen or whatever, get a ballpoint, if that's what you're more comfortable with. Like, use the pen that you use on a regular basis to write. If that's a ballpoint Bic stick, then use that for drawing. Use what you're comfortable with, and the confidence will come. And I wish I could say, like, there's this one magic thing you can do to make your art better. That one magic thing is time, and none of us have enough of it. So anyway, I'll stop there. I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for asking questions and making comments and in the comment section. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Hit that thumbs up and like and all that fun stuff. Thanks and bye.